Hello, everybody. Today we welcome each of you to embark on this journey through the captivating world of Rick Spayat's recognized career to another episode of this podcast where not only we celebrate the ability of our guests, but also sharing the experience of inspiring insights.
Feel free to immerse yourselves in the narratives that unfold and glean inspiration from the remarkable journey of our esteemed guest. As we navigate through the highs and lows of the entertainment industry, may you find invaluable takeaways and perhaps a spark of motivation for your own endeavors.
Can you tell us a little bit about you? How did you discover your calling to be an actor? And can you share the details of your first ever experience on acting?
It happened very early for me. I was 7 years old and my family moved from the United States to Germany. This was before the internet, before streaming services. So as Americans living in Germany, we had very few options for entertainment. Everything was in German, obviously. And so we used to sneak onto the army base and go to the movies there. And so we would go to the movies every week, sometimes twice a week, and see whatever was showing. We didn't care what it was just in English and it was some form of entertainment. So I was saturated with movies as a small child. And the more I saw of these films, the more I thought, well, that's interesting. That would be an interesting way to go through life, because instead of, at that age, people are always asking you, what do you want to do for a living? I figured out, if you want to be an actor, you can be a doctor and a race car driver and president of the United States and all of these things. So it kind of covered everything. With regard to my first experience, and my mother would love to tell this story, I was 6 years old. I was in a school play. Right before the curtains went up, I was backstage crying because they wanted to put makeup on me. And I didn't want to wear makeup. So they had to call my mom backstage to calm me down because I didn't want to wear makeup. And now look at me.
That's really nice. So, Rick, tell us, for those unfamiliar with the intricacies of acting in the industry, what are some behind-the-scenes aspects that might surprise them, things not readily visible on screen?
Particularly as it applies to film acting, I think most people would be surprised at how little time in an 8-hour day is actually spent acting. That was a big surprise to me when I first got onto sets, that there's makeup and there's costuming and there's preparation, and then you go to your holding area or your trailer that you're in and you wait, and then you might rehearse, and then you go back and you wait some more, and then you might go to breakfast or to lunch or hang out with other actors, all waiting for that time when somebody comes and says, okay, let's go to set. And then you're actually acting. But in the sports space of an 8-hour day, you might spend half an hour actually acting. And that was a big surprise to me. And it's also a source of frustration to me because I'm the kind of person that likes to go to work as soon as I go to work. So it was enlightening to get there, and it's still true. You go to work and you go to the set, go to the shoot area, and you could be hours before you actually get in front of a camera.
Those are the preparation time that people don't see, the behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I pride myself on being prepared when I go to set. I know my lines. I probably know the other lines of the people in the scene. So I'm ready. When I show up in the morning, I'm ready to go. And it's always a little frustrating to just know that you might actually not even get to set. That's happened to me before too.
So many times it take a while to set up everything, the camera.
Oh yeah.
The actors rehearse and maybe after 3 hours from the time that you are there, 4, 5, 6.
And that's another part of it is that, you know, it takes a long time to set up a shot. And even if you're working on the same scene, if you want to shoot it from different angles, that's a different setup. So, you know, it's not uncommon to work for 3 hours on one scene that's going to be on the screen for 15 seconds.
15 seconds, yeah, that's true. We all like perfection, isn't it? And
oh, yes.
That's the way.
Yeah, and you want to have options.
Yeah, that's true. Well, as an avid lover of cinema, can you share your all-time favorite movie and what makes it stand out for it?
This is self-indulgent, but it's just for me. My favorite movie, I think, is a movie called The Road to Perdition, and it's 20 years old. I like gangster movies, and this is a really, really good one that's also a story about a boy and his father. So it encompasses the father roles. It's Tom Hanks, it's Paul Newman, it's Jude Law, Stanley Tucci, Daniel Craig, and directed by Sam Mendes.
Oh my God.
So you've got, I mean,
an amazing cast.
Yeah, and it is just, it's beautiful to watch. It's beautifully acted. The score is just haunting. The camera work, I have literally gone through that movie and rewound scenes just to look at the camera work and the movement of the camera and the design of the shot. It's beautiful to watch.
Wow. Yeah, I will watch it actually. Now I think I haven't watched it yet.
Please do. Let me know.
Yeah. In the process of preparing for a role, how do you go about memorizing your lines effectively?
I only know one way to memorize lines, and that's repetition and more repetition and just immersing yourself in the lines. Now, I will say, we're talking about acting on film and acting on stage. The memorization is very, very different because obviously on stage, you need to commit the entire script to memory. And that comes again through repetition. But through running the show, that repetition, you memorize it mentally and physically because those lines will come with the physical action and the blocking that are in the play. For film, you may only have to actually memorize 2 pages of script for the scene that you're shooting next. And so for film, I get to be really good at flash memorizing something, committing it to memory quickly, and then forgetting it just as quickly because you're moving on to the next scene. And you go and you shoot that. In film, you probably have the script with you just out of scene. So it's a much faster process and you get to take smaller bites of the script when you're working on a film. But in either case, it's just, for me, repetition and repetition.
Reflecting on your career, can you pinpoint the most beautiful or memorable moment that you experienced so far?
Well, that's a tough question for me because there have been several that I think, there's been several times in my career where I think, well, if it all ends here, I have this happened. I'm thinking back to the first big role that I had in a big production, big budget production, was for HBO. And I was a starting out novice actor, and the director of that film and the other cast treated me so well that I thought, well, I'm spoiled now, because it's never going to get this good again. But it's been consistently, I'm always amazed at the kindness of most other actors. I'm going to save that for another question later on. This is tough for me because I will say this, I just earlier this year worked several weeks on a film that will be released next year. I can't talk about it because I'm under a non-disclosure agreement.
We understand.
And I can't even say what it is until the studio announces the casting.
Surprise.
But it was for me the most outrageous, the most fun. I've said to my friends that it was like running away and joining the circus. because it was just every day. I was just, wow, this is really cool. But I can't tell you what it is.
But when you will tell us, when it will be out? In a few months or?
Again, because of the strike, the release date has been pushed back. So I don't even know. It was scheduled for summer of next year.
So we are gonna be in suspense until next year.
I'm dying. I wish I could tell you, because I got to work with some incredible actors.
Wow.
And then, enormous sets, and it was just wonderful.
We are waiting for that. We're waiting.
Definitely.
Okay, we'll come back and talk about that one later.
Yes,
definitely.
So, Eric, when it comes to your acting style, do you consider yourself more of a method actor?
Let's talk about this. Okay. I consider myself natural. I have a degree in acting from university and done a lot of workshops, and I've done all of the techniques. I feel very strongly that acting shouldn't hurt. And if you are practicing some form of self-harm in order to get to emotions that you need on screen or on stage, I just don't think that's healthy. I've worked with method actors before, and I found the technique to be amazing, because I'm not going to name drop here, but I worked with an actor who stayed in character all the time. I've worked with that actor a lot, but I never met the actor because he was always in character. And he did amazing work. So I was in awe of that, but I don't think it's healthy in the long run. For me, I prefer to be organic and natural. And fortunately, my acting technique comes out of life experience. So you get to a certain point in your life when you have really experienced love and hate and horror and outrage and joy. And you don't need to manufacture them because you know that they're there.
It's a little bit intriguing how a character can take away your individuality, isn't it? When you get into that state that you are always performing the character, even when you are not on set.
Yes, yeah, it is. And like I said, he did incredible work, this actor I'm talking about, and was recognized for it. But I just don't, I feel like it's something you should be able to take on and off and immerse yourself in it when you have it on, but then be able to clear your mind later on and focus on, we're all about mental health now, and we should be.
Wow. So, but why you say it's not healthy, the method actor?
Very early in my career, I worked with a coach who, is particularly if you're starting out in an acting career and you need to do a scene where something terrible has happened and you're crying. And I worked with a coach who told me, well, just remember a time in your life when something horrible happened to you. Maybe you saw your puppy get run over by a car. Just remember that, bring up that memory, and it'll make you cry. Well, I don't know if it's healthy to intentionally bring up horrible things that have happened in your life in order to organically cry. It is, and you can bleep this out later, emotional masturbation, in my view, because if you take an inventory of your life experience and you know that those things are in your inventory, then if you need to cry for a scene, you've got it. It's part of your makeup. It's just a matter of getting out of your own way and letting that come to the surface, sharing that with an audience, not manufacturing it, but sharing what's already there. There's a fine line between the two, I know, but it's important to me when, particularly if I'm doing a demanding scene, that I'm not doing emotional damage in order to get to that place I need to be. Particularly since, I'm a man of a certain age, I own all of those emotions, from joy to horror to rage to anger, love. I just need to find it and then share it.
Well, Rick, you talk about collaboration, and collaboration is a key for every project. Can you share an experience where the synergy with your co-stars and the production team significantly enhanced the final outcome of the project?
I was a couple of years ago working on a project. It was a very demanding role because it required me. I was playing the father of a murder victim at her funeral, sitting next to the man that I thought killed her. And you can see it on Hulu. It's still running. I was working with a really brilliant actor who, when we started the scene, as usual, I only met him minutes before we went to work together. It was a very tense scene, and when the director called action, we just sat in silence for what felt like a full minute to me. And in the very beginning of that, I was caught off guard because I thought, what's he doing? And then I realized that the tension and the awkwardness that needed to be in the scene was building in that silence. It really was awkward and tense. And I really just decided to dig into it, to let it bake. Let's just let it be awkward and let's let it be tense. And then we did the scene, and I loved it. And we just connected in a way that I'd rarely experienced on set before. And so we had to work together for, I think, 3 weeks after that. And we maintained the same connection even when we were in scenes, and not even when we had to relate. When we didn't have to relate with one another, we were always checking in with one another and saying, okay, you got everything you need. Are you set for this? And do you have the parts that you need for this scene? And it was a great synergy. When we wrapped, I went to him, just had to tell him how much I appreciated it. I'm not being very specific or naming names. Maybe I should, because he deserves the props. But it was really, for me, an example of what can happen when you're working with really great people that you can connect with. Everybody on that project was great, the cast and crew. So it was a wonderful experience.
Oh, wow. You don't want to tell the name, do you? It's okay. No. No. Okay.
Perfect. Why not? I mean, it's a project that is already on, so.
His name is Pablo Schreiber, and if you get a chance to work with him, do it. He's an incredibly generous actor.
Wow, perfect. Auditions are often filled with unexpected moments. Can you share any humorous or memorable audition stories?
I'll give you a humorous one. Early in my career, I did a lot of commercial auditions, and I distinctly remember, I don't remember who the client was, but the setup was that I was playing poker with a monkey, and my last line was, "Well played, monkey," because the monkey wins. And I remember thinking that's why I went to university for 4 years, so I could say, "Well played, monkey." Let me tell you a different audition story though, because I auditioned for a movie, was relatively low budget film. My agent called me one night on a Friday evening and said, they want you for a callback, but it's tomorrow and it's in a different city 2.5 hours away. So I would have to fly there, rent a car, go to the callback, which, as you know, might last 3 minutes, get back in the car, go back to the airport, fly home, $500 in expenses, and a whole day of travel to be in the room for 3 minutes. So I said, no. Tell them thank you, but no. I hung up the phone.
Last minute.
I hung up the phone and went in and told my husband, who you know, Joe, and he said, no, you need to do this. What? Why? I think you should go do it. So I did. I called my agent back and said, yeah, tell him I'll be there. Flew there, rented a car, drove 3 minutes in the room, came home, got the job. And it was a movie called Dallas Buyers Club. It was nominated for an Academy Award. Matthew McConaughey won an Academy Award. Jared Leto won an Academy Award. They won an Academy Award for makeup. And I turned it down. And I will give props to my husband, who is my assistant and my touchstone, who keeps me sane and off the edge, that he was really the reason I went and did the call back and got the job. So you never know. That's the point of the show. You never know. You never know when you're being lucky. You never know if you lose a job or you didn't get hired. Maybe that's for a reason.
Everything was for a reason. Are there any dream roles that you have yet to tackle, or specific characters you love to portray in the future?
I don't know specific characters, but I love to play dark characters. I love to play damaged people. I think those are the most challenged. Some people shy away from villains, but I love them. I just dig right in.
No, it's good because the mystery is intriguing you, so you like to play that. And to be honest, we like as audience to watch this type of films with this type of characters. So I wish you will have soon one of these films.
Thank you.
So if financial constraints were eliminated and you could film your next movie anywhere in the world, which country would you be dream location for you?
I would be in your country. I would be in London. I just love London and the UK. I have friends that live there, and I have an American actor that's been my friend for 20 years who's living there, working on the West End. But I would love to be working in London.
Looking ahead, what expecting projects or plans can your fans anticipate from you in the near future?
Well,
if you can tell us something about it.
You know, I was going to go back to that movie. Wow. You know, when it comes out, it's going to be amazing. But I have right now, I have a film that's getting ready to drop on streaming next week. Another one in the can that I think is looking for distribution. And then the big one that I just told you about earlier. So there's some really, all three of those roles are wildly different. So I'm very thankful that I'm getting to play a range of characters. But I think the strike has really disrupted the flow of material for everybody. So we'll just have to see. I can't tell you about the big ones, so we'll have to come back and talk about that later.
I don't know, no way to...
Nothing, we keep our suspense in here. Patience is not my biggest strength, okay?
Me either. No, it's killing me.
And to the new actors and actresses, what advice would you offer these people? What for this profession, for acting? What's your advice?
2 things, maybe 3. Number 1, figure out what success looks like for you. If your idea of success is becoming a global superstar, you are going to face a lot of disappointment. You might, in fact, become a global superstar one day, but every day short of that is going to be a day of frustration. For me, being a working actor is my idea of success. I live in a state of gratitude all the time because maybe I'm not on a job, but I am auditioning all the time, getting to flex those muscles and work. I think auditioning is part of the work. So I'm working all the time. And just be realistic about what your idea of success is and make it something that you can achieve and it will make you happy. The second thing is, and this is, I think, the biggest part of becoming an actor, learn how to let go. It is very, very easy to get wrapped up in an audition, hang your idea of success and your self-esteem on the results of that audition. Don't do that. When you do the audition, particularly now, because most auditions for film are by video, submit the audition and let it go. Just forget about it as quickly as you can. And it helps you if you have another audition beyond that, you can go right on without really getting hung up on the one that you want. But it's just so damaging, I think. It's to stay focused on, oh, I want that so badly. And it happens to all of us. You can see something, a project you want to be a part of, just stay focused on that. And then if you don't get it, then it turns into why wasn't I enough? What do I need to fix? Why didn't they like me? And it becomes so consuming. This job comes with a lot of rejection. So when you do an audition and you're finished with the audition, let it go. Just let it go. One more point I will make. It is very helpful to have somebody in your life that will be your touchstone, that will keep you sane. So if you do get caught up in the what's wrong with me, why don't they like me, is my head too big, those kind of things, you need somebody that can slap you around and say, stop, move on, let it go, and move on.
And life lessons you've given us.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. They're magnified in the acting business. But yeah, there was life lessons as well.
Thank you so much. We are grateful that you have tonight with you a very nice conversation. And as we bring this captivating conversation to a close, we want to extend our gratitude to Rick Espaillat for sharing his time, wisdom, and the entertaining stories with us. Thank you so much, Rick.
I really enjoyed it. I appreciate the opportunity to be with both of you.